Hi everyone, this is Dora Bukhari. Today we're going to talk about GenAI on AWS Bedrock, and we will have a little bit of dive deep, a little bit of demo, and we will have fun. Here's the agenda. You can pause the video in order to look in detail to it, and let's get started. What is GenAI? We'll start with the definition of GenAI and AI generally. I don't want to give you abbreviations, but I always want to give the same example that I always use, imagining that we have a little girl called Jury and she's just born. She has her brain that doesn't contain a lot of information, and you're feeding her with information, telling her this are the geometrical shapes, that is a circle, this is triangle, this is square, etc., etc. So her brain is learning these things and keeping it in consideration. After 3 years, if you give her a pen and you tell her, please draw for me this house that contains these geometrical shapes that I taught you, uh, this little girl named Jury will take a little bit of time and then she will make this drawing for you. So, as her parent, you'll be very happy and you tell her, bravo, what you've done is a work of art and it's a proof of your intelligence. So, as you can notice here, what Jury did during this work here is using a training data, which are the things that you taught her in order to ameliorate her knowledge about things that she may use. Her brain is the one responsible for processing these things, and the generated data or the generated picture is the result of this learning process. Okay, so this is proof of natural intelligence as it comes from a brain, a natural brain, not something that is human built. So now let's imagine that Jury is a machine, then it is a human built product, and the type of intelligence that we may obtain of it is an artificial intelligence, and here comes the word AI. So, what is the impact of GenAI? There are several articles that were written in this same perspective, for example, in Forbes or in Harvard Business Review. You can notice how impactful is this technology on the future of IT, of businesses, etc. One of it is it helps to augment human being and human creativity, which means maybe in the future we will have a lot of innovative applications that rely on this technology. And now let's talk about what are foundational models in GenAI or in AI generally. And in order to give a definition, what are foundational model? Let's get back to the example that we've been using. So now, as we imagine that Jury is a machine, the equivalent of the brain is the foundation model. Sorry for the typo here, it's foundation model. And there's always a training data used to give the knowledge to this foundation model so it can later create that work of art or the generated data. Okay, since we have generated data, all this is called generative artificial intelligence. From this example, we can understand that foundation model is the brain behind the generative artificial intelligence capabilities. Now, after understanding this whole thing with some cute examples, it's time to dive deep into the technical definition of the foundation models. Foundation models are defined as large deep learning neural networks. Large from the fact that it is trained on massive data sets. Deep learning is a type of machine learning that mimics the behavior of the brain, of the human brain. Neural network comes from the fact that, just like a human brain again, we have an artificial neural network that is composed of neurons that we use in order to gain the result that we want to obtain eventually. From this very interesting foundation model definition, we can notice that deep learning is a subdomain of machine learning. Deep learning is an algorithmic approach or a technique, you can say, that aims to implement machine learning by using artificial neural networks. Machine learning in itself is how to teach and train the machine so it can be able to perform a task. So, machine learning is the usage of algorithms in general in order to achieve artificial intelligence. It contains many other practices, not only deep learning, which is a subfield, if subfield is a correct word to use. For example, parsing data, making predictions and determinations, etc. Artificial intelligence is the ability of machine to mimic human intelligence. Now let's jump to the next part, which is what is AWS Bedrock? So let's imagine that this is you. You watched the video, you're walking on the street, and suddenly you had an idea. I will create an app that uses GenAI capabilities. But you thought to yourself and said, well, how can I leverage these capabilities? What are the tools that I can use to do this on AWS? You made a little bit of research, you remembered what you saw in this video, and you got it. You can use AWS Bedrock. Now let's jump to the AWS console in order to make a walkthrough into Amazon Bedrock service. So here is the welcome page of the service in itself. We can see here get started, the overview, the benefits, some information about the service. You can go to the left, go to the providers, and here you can see different providers who created different foundation models, different generations of foundation models that we can use. For example, here for Amazon, we have Titan Embed in G1, etc. And here you can see the API calls, the syntax of it that you will be using when you when you start creating your application that will leverage this API capabilities using this foundation model. There is AI21 Lab as another provider, Cohere, Metadata, Mistral AI, and Stability AI, which is mainly dedicated for the images. There are three types of usage for for foundation models on Bedrock. You can use base models, which means you build and scale generative AI application using the foundation model that already exists there from different providers. Or you can take a model, take a copy of the model, um, you own it, and you start customizing it, which means fine tuning it to meet your needs. And finally, there is import model, which means that you have already trained the model, you have already the model fine tuned, etc., and you can import it on Bedrock in order to make good use of the capabilities of Bedrock for your application. Now let's jump to the fun part, which is the playgrounds. We have three: chat, text, and image. Let's go to chat. Here you can see a few scenarios that are ready to use. For example, there is a transcript that is given of a meeting, and this um, example will give us a summary of the meeting. For example, there are three people talking in the meeting. We have the transcript, and we will have the summary of actions of what everyone will be doing using the transcript of this meeting. Now let's have more fun. We will compare two models. We will do the same task and we try to compare two models. The first is Jamba Instruct, the second one is Titan Text G1. And here you will notice that we are receiving the responses. Please consider that I edited this video to not waste time, but you're supposed to wait a little bit for the responses. Here you notice there's a difference between the wording and the responses that you receive from both models. So it's up to you to select what is the best approach the best response or syntax or way of wording that you like more than the other one for your application that you want to create. Now let's jump to the next playground, which is image playground. You can see that we can create image and generate images from text prompts. We have mainly two models that providers, sorry, that we can use. There is Stability AI, which is very famous for this, and there is also Amazon Titan Image Generator G1. Draw a cute cat dancing, and here we have three images of cute cat dancing. You can see that in the right corner, I've already specified that I want three photos, and I said draw. This is the reason why I gave me third picture of a hand drawing, which is very significant. You can also define the size of the image that you want to have, and there are several parameters that we will be discussing maybe in the next session in order to dive deep into these concepts. Now, after learning all this about AWS Bedrock, aren't you interested to know what are the other functionalities that AWS Bedrock bring on the table? What are the other functionalities, the other things that we can use in order to empower our application and to make it more functional in addition to using the foundation models given by different providers and making the fine tuning or customizing the foundation models that we have? So let's jump to the next part. I love asking foundation models and GenAI application select questions. So I will select a model in the chat, which is Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and I will ask him what time is it. So you may think that it would give me the exact response of the time now, but it says sorry, I cannot give you this information because it requires real time. It's a real time action, and then I would select another model, ask the same question, run, and it would say, I'm just an AI. I cannot give you this answer. So, with this, we can understand that there are several tasks that are real time. We cannot perform them with foundation models. We have to have agents, for example, which is um, a capability provided by Bedrock that gives you the possibility to integrate agents, which are the guys that would apply real-time actions to retrieve data in real time, to look for the time in the real time, to find the meteorological condition in real time, or to make an action on resources within your GenAI application. These are the other capabilities that I intend to talk about in the next session. Learning never ends. So, to be continued, this was Dora Bukhari. Bye bye.